Hey everyone, it's Jason, and welcome to Kiwi Chow Down video part 2. In part 1, I went through the rules. I kind of went over as much as I could without doing a full how to play. But if you kind of want to know how the game works, go back, check that out. In this video, we're going to look at a lot of the different cards and the miniatures that came with it, and the leader cards and stuff like that. I just kind of want to separate it because the other video is getting a little bit long. If you're not for sure this game is, this is a quick re-overview. It is not an area control, it kind of is an area control game, but it's also a resource management game. So you'll be moving your Kiwis around the board, trying to either feed yours or opponents to either move them around and gain dominance in certain areas. So there are 7 leaders in this game. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick look at them. So I'm going to do here first, before we actually look at the leader cards, we're going to look at the miniatures. So we're going to start with Musco. So this is a Kiwi that looks like he has tentacles. He has some mushroom wand and everything. So let's go ahead and look at their miniature. I'm going to move this out of the way so it doesn't interfere. Yeah, so there's that one. Little mushrooms all over, some tentacles underneath. Very, very interesting. Not your typical Kiwi. And so we'll go after we look at all the miniatures. We'll look at what their cards all do. Just it's too hard to keep pulling them back and forth. All right, so we have Scully. And there's Scully. A little ritual dagger, a skull helm on top of their little Kiwi beak sticking out. More tribally. With the symbol on the side there, the little thing there, I believe that is the Kiwi symbol they use for all the different games and stuff. So that's kind of neat. Alright. Our next one up is Zen. So this Kiwi's blind ninja master, I guess. Zen master. So there's his miniature. Not quite standing up on the 1 foot like they had in the picture. Was like a bamboo staff, the big giant beard. Really funny. Kind of interesting. The first time you really get to see how round these guys are supposed to be. All right. Our 4th one is Burbus, who is the aquatic one. He's riding a crab. And he has some little extra minions. You have sandcastles on their hats. Yes, this is kind of interesting. So yeah, there's... Trying to find the front there. Yeah, so there's the front. Okay, there's the front. He's got a seashell one. He's got a little sandcastle on his hat. He's got an oyster shell on the back. Little kind of dash, like the tidal wave behind him. So that's kind of cool. Then our 5th one, I like that there's more than 4. They could have just done 4, and like 1 for each player, pick one. We have Chopin, who's kind of the knight. So he's got a little big old front shield, has some coconuts that he launches. Not quite sure how he launches it. He just like leans forward and throws them, or how that works, but that's cool. So then the last 2 are inspired by some of the other games from the company. Is we have Mecha Kiwi, which is sponsored by, which is inspired by War for Chicken Island. So it's a chicken, giant Mecha Kiwi. So that's pretty cool. And then the last one is inspired by dodos riding dinosaurs. Is we have Ugg and Yuka. So we have a Kiwi riding a woolly mammoth. So it's neither ones are a dodo or technically a dinosaur. But yeah, that's the inspiration there. So that's really fun that they did that as well. I love that they're mixing and matching these games. At the end of the video, we'll also look at some promo cards that came in the box that will work for some of the other games. And this one as well that mixes and matches them a little bit more. but I'm going to save that till the end. All right, we are going to hop in and look at some cards now. So since we were already looking at the leaders, let's just hop in and keep looking at them. So they're going to have these white backs. Camera focus. And then we have 2 copies of each card. Not 2 copies, but we have 2 different versions. So for Muso, we have an A and we have a B. I believe all of them are going to have just that movement ability on there, but it says move. So this is their leader ability. It says move Muso to any hex, push every Kiwi any size from the hex you landed on, then gain 1 fruit. Cool, so you can kind of land somewhere and then you can push everyone else out. Doesn't matter what it is. But it has to be every Kiwi of any size. But yeah, that can definitely help you stack. Otherwise, we have B, which has a lot more text on it. Move Muso 1 hex, push every Kiwi any size from the hex you landed on. Choose one opposing size 1 Kiwi that you push and place 2 of your Kiwi tokens on top of it. The size 3 Kiwi is now yours until the beginning of your next domain marking phase. Then you must deattach and place your size 2 Kiwi in its current hex. Interesting. So basically you can steal one of your opponents for a turn until the beginning of the domain phase, and then you have to drop it down. But it does kind of affect everything else. It could, if you're the first player, it could make it a 3-part, and then someone could feed it and pop it. Or you could feed it then and pop it if you wanted to. Yeah, any hex versus 1 hex. So it's also a difference in that ability as well. So you kind of got to pay attention to that. But that's neat that we get 2 different effects. Up next, we have Scully. It says, move Scully up to 3 hexes. Push 3 Kiwi, size 2 or smaller, from the hex you landed on up to 3 spaces in any direction. So he also pushes guys, but he pushes them a lot farther. So again, this could be very strategic to use. Side, or part B says, I don't know why they just do an A, B side to have a front to back. It would have been interesting to do. Move Scully 1 hex. Push every Kiwi any size from the hex you landed on. Then move every opposing leader 1 hex and push 1 Kiwi any size from the hex they landed on. Interesting. I like this, almost a completely different ability. Yes, now you get a move, instead of moving a lot, you get to move 1 space. And I think it's also, I think B is kind of meant to be more if you're playing, like, again, you use them for anything, but I think the idea is B should be more for like a 4-player game versus A should be more for maybe like a 2-player game or a beginner game. Because B, I think, works better with more players because you have more things on the board to interact with. Yeah, pushing your opponent's leader hex and 1 Kiwi from that hex. Cool. We have Zen A. Switch position of Zen with any of your Kiwi. Choose up to 4 Kiwi, any size adjacent to the hex 6 landed on, and push them. Okay, cool. So instead of just moving, you just to move one of your guys somewhere else, swap them, and then you just to move stuff around. That's cool. For B, we have move Zen 1 hex, push 1 Kiwi any size in every hex of the same type as the one Zen landed on. Oh, that's neat. So if like you move to a yellow, now you can move 1 hex out of every yellow. That could definitely change a lot of stuff on the board. Burbus has place a size 1 Kiwi on Burbus's hex. Move Burbus 2 hexes. Push every Kiwi any size from the hex you landed on. Then place a size 1 Kiwi on the hex. Which summons his little buddies. That's fun. Or his side, or his part B1. We have switch positions of Burbus with any nest on the island board. Push every Kiwi any size from the hex you landed on, and this can result in 2 or more nests in 1 hex. Ooh. So you could double up yours, or you could move one of your opponents away from like something you're trying to take control of. That's neat as well. Cool. I like these effects. They're pretty interesting. We have Chopping, or Chopin. Move exactly 3 hexes in a straight line. Push every Kiwi in any size from the 2 hexes between the starting and landing hex. The hexes between must be empty after pushing all hexes. After pushing all Kiwi. So So it's kind of neat. So he dashes in a straight line between three hexes. The two in between that he goes to, you have to push everything out. But you can't push. You can push stuff from the first hex. You could technically. You could probably technically. I don't think you're supposed to push it into the second hex and then you can move the second one. I think you're supposed to move them all at the same time. So you have to move them all like any space other than into the other two hexes. It's pretty crazy. His B is move him one hex. Push up to 2 Kiwi any size from the hex you landed on. If there are currently no dominion markers on the landing hex, you have dominions. You can immediately mark the domain marker from your reserve of the matching type. Ooh, so yeah, other than clearing everybody out, this one instead just lets him take control of areas. Neat. We have Mecha Kiwi. Move Mecha Kiwi exactly 3 hexes in a straight line. Push up to 2 Kiwi of any size from the hex you landed on. Then place 1 fruit from the bag on the hexes between, but not including. It's not in the third spot, but the other two. Mecha Kiwi's starting hex and landing hex. Mecha Kiwi's starting hex and landing hex. When a Kiwi enters a hex with a fruit, the fruit explodes, return it to the bag. The player who moved to the Kiwi pushes every Kiwi in that hex. Oh, sorry. That confused me because I said not including between. Place 1 fruit on the hex between his starting and his landing spot. Okay. Yeah, it's shiny. Okay, so he drops exploding fruit. When a Kiwi enters a hex with fruit, the fruit explodes. The player who moved the Kiwi pushes every Kiwi in that hex. Interesting. So, now it's only if they move there, not if they get pushed. So technically, if you drop this fruit down there, a bunch of people could push stuff into that fruit area. Then someone could move there later and then blow it up and move everything. That's kind of neat. His B, move Mecha Kiwi up to X hexes. Push up to X Kiwi, size X or smaller from the hex you landed on. Up to X hexes. X is equal to the current season. Okay, so that's kind of a little bit interesting. So, example, if it is season 2, you can move up to 2 X's. So as the game goes on, you can do more stuff. But season 2, you move 2 hexes. You can push up to 2 hexes of size 2 or smaller from the hexes you landed on up to 2 spaces. So by the time you hit 4, you can move up to 4 spaces. Move up to 4 Kiwi of any size up to 4 spaces away. That's kind of a neat little ability as well. Alright, and our final one is Ugg and Yuka. Move Ugg up to 2 hexes, so Ugg is your mammoth, I think. Not sure. Ugg might be the Kiwi. Probably the Kiwi. Choose up to 2 Kiwi of any size. Adjacent to them, Ugg land on. Then push them. Then place your kernel or nest on Ugg's hex. Size 1 and size 2 Kiwi in this hex cannot be pushed until the end of the domain phase. Moving up to 2 hexes, choose up to 2 Kiwi of any size adjacent to the hex, land on and push them. So he lands on a spot. 2 Kiwi from an adjacent hex is going to push guys not in his spot, but the next one. Then place your turn order nest on your space. Size 1 2 Kiwis on this hex cannot be moved or pushed. So basically, he kind of protects your guys. That's kind of neat. You could essentially protect your guys. Cool. Then side B is game 1, domain marker. Move Ugg to any hex that matches the marker's type. Push every Kiwi any size from the hex you landed on. Then return one of your domain markers to reserve to the bag. You may choose the one you gain. That's kind of neat. So you can basically move whatever it says. You don't really get an option where you get to move, but it is going to move some stuff around. Cool. Alright, so those are our various leader cards. We did show off in the last video, but we'll show them off again. Is we have our action cards. They'll have different colors for each back. But we have 2 copies of feeding Kiwis. We have 2 moving Kiwis. 2 for building. And then we have our wild cards. We can either do one of those 3 actions or gain 4 fruit. Doing action, gain 2 fruit and 1 dominion token, or gain any action, gain 1 fruit and place 2 kiwi. And then the other ones would just be the other colors. So we have green, purple, and blue. So each different one gets a set of those. So that's cool. So I'm not going to get too much more into those. We have our season cards. So they're going to have this picture on the back, separates them from everything else. And they're going to have different things on there. They're going to show what they do. So yeah, we're going to have a couple of different things on here. I ain't going too much into the gameplay. But it says, when determining each player's count towards a season objective, remember that each controlling counts as 2 kiwis token. When you gain victory points from this season, keep the card for the end game. So yeah, it's just gonna explain basically how it gets, and then the winner gets the one on the left side with the one with the crown. Everyone else gets the other one. It just says, once the action phase is finished, review the objective of the current round. So they're just going to show the little flag with a kiwi on it. The player who beats all other players in this condition at the top of the card gains a benefit on the left side. All the other players gain the right. So this is going to kind of just show off what each one gets. I was trying to see if I had a picture of what that little symbol meant, because I don't remember exactly what it does. Just 1 second here. I'm going to look up this picture on this card here. So I have a listing of all what these do. Okay. Most kiwi tokens in the same hex as your leader. So your leader's the little flag one with the hex base. And let's just have the most kiwi in there. So whoever does that gets a build action immediately by paying their fruit, of course. They still have to pay fruit to build something. All other players gain 2 things. So this may or may not be beneficial. Maybe you don't want to build for some reason. We have this one, which is most hexes establish dominance, gain a victory point, or gain dominance tokens. Most nest on the island board, gain a victory point or a dominance token. And then we have some of these with each one. So the least amount, sorry, this is the most amount, has the up arrow. Most amount on the flower hexes gain a dominance token. Nobody else gains a benefit. Most on the mountain. Increase the size of any 3 kiwis. So you get plus 3 kiwis, get to add a token. All other ones just get to place a 1 size kiwi. If you have, why'd they do it like that? Why do I have these shuffled weird? I'm going to pull that one off for just a sec. We're going to look at the other positives. So if you have the most on the grass, you gain a dominance token. Everyone else loses 1. If you have the most on the desert, you gain 1. Everyone else loses a 1 chicken. 1 kiwi. Has to remove after 1 kiwi of any size from the board. We have this one, which is most kiwi tokens in a single hex gain 2 victory points. Everyone else gains 1 dominance domain token. This one is the most hexes with only 1 of your kiwi of any size gain 2. Everyone else gains 2 fruit. Then we have 3 other ones that are very similar to each other. We have most 1 size kiwis on the board. You gain 1 dominance token and you can build 1. Otherwise, you have to place 1 token. Most 2 size kiwis take a build action, gain 2 fruit. Most 3 size gain a victory point. Otherwise, just to play 1. And then we have the last 4, which are the least amounts. So the least amount in a grass, 1 domain and 1 fruit. Otherwise, gets 1 fruit. Most least amount in the desert, 2 dominance domain tokens, and everyone else gets to build. Least in the flower, 2 fruit minus 2 dominance, and I keep saying dominance, it's domain. And least in the mountain, gain 4. Place 4 1 size kiwi, everyone else gets 1 fruit. So that's kind of neat. That's how the seasons work. Now, when you play the game, though, there's all these different cards, but you only draw 4 of them for the game, and you don't play the rest. So every time you play the game, it's going to be a little bit different. I was trying to see if I could grab my domain board, or my season board. So you'll have our season board, like 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can play these face down. The other side has the same thing. So you're not going to be playing with all of these. You're not going to go through them all every game. You're going to have 4 of them that you go through, and that is it. Yeah, so it's very interesting that you get to do that. Alright, then we're going to look at a couple other things here. We have our turn orders. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So when they first start off, though, they start off with some different symbols on them. So 1 and 2, this is how you start off. So the first player gets 5 fruit and gains 2 domain tokens to not build that turn. Player 2 gains 6 and 2. Player 3 gets 7 and 3, and then player 4 gets 8 and 3. So they get a little bit more advantage for taking your later turns. Then after the first round, you flip them over to the other side just to keep your numbers in order. You still have the first player to go around, but this just establishes the first time and where you're starting with the turn at 1 through going around. Then nobody else gains any extra abilities. Alright, then the next thing we want to look at for token-wise is we have our various thingies, our nests, caves, and controls. So you see one of these has a VIP token on a victory point, the other one doesn't. So it's gonna match your top and your bottom ones. So if we flip these over, it's just going to show the different stuff each one does. And these are the exact same pictures are on the board. Whoops, and that one fell over. So the first time you build them, which you have to build the non-victory point one first, you gain 1 fruit, or you gain 2 fruit and you get to build a kiwi. And then every time during the round when they're on there, you gain more stuff. So yeah, the nests here get you a little bit more fruit than the other ones. If we look at the caves, they are going to get you, you play more kiwi every turn. And then if we look at the controls, they are going to let you do some other stuff. So this is going to let you build an extra one and move a guy right off that. This is going to get you some dominance domain tokens, but they also count as 2 kiwi as well. And then they're the same for every color. We just have them in different colors. I just want to show the yellow ones. Alright, then we do have 4 aid cards I want to show off really quick. So move, feed, build, wild card, just explains those. On the back side, just shows off your different symbols. Just to help to remind you what some of those mean. And they're going to be the same color for everyone, so it's nothing different there. Alright, then we have a couple other expansion stuff in here. So we do have 2 extra expansions that were included in the game. We have the power card expansions. During setup, shuffle the power cards and deal 2 to each player. Hand size is now 5 instead of 3. Place the rest next to the season board from the power deck. You may play 1 power card per season. Instead of playing an action, you may play a power card by paying its fruit cost. Draw 1 power card afterwards. When you play a power card, resolve its action. Then the special effect, which may be immediately benefit or continue as the rest of the game. Power cards are continuous effects stay in the game, and your player reserve. They apply only to you unless specified. Special effects can be combined. If you reach an epic combo, we want to hear about it. Cool, so that's what that goes for. They're going to have a blue back to set them apart from everything else. So that means if I have cards in my hand, so if I have my action cards, someone's going to know what color I have versus if I have which ones are my power cards. Not that it makes a big difference, but so they're going to have a lot of the same idea, same stuff that the action cards do. Here's a move action, but now if I pay 2 fruit, says whenever I move any of your kiwi, excluding your leader, you can move them up to 2 hexes. So now I get 1 move action instead of 2, but I have the option of moving guys 2 hexes instead of 1. And they have one if you pay 3. Whenever your player gain any amount of move actions, it gain 1 additional one. Pay 3, move your Kiwi may push other Kiwi of the same size. 3, you may move any of your Kiwi, or whenever you move any of your Kiwi, you may push every smaller Kiwi from your hex you landed on, instead of only the typical 2. So this one does have a lightning bolt action on it, so I believe it means you gain it immediately. So move each of your, does it actually specify in here? I just want to check quick. I don't know if it does. All it says is move each of your 1 and 2 size Kiwi. Yeah, the rules don't specify that, I think, because they're included later. Resolve its action and special effect. Maybe an immediate benefit or continuous for the rest of the game. Okay, so if this is immediate, it says automatically move it. Where this is you play this, it sticks around until you do it. So this is whenever you move any of your Kiwi, now you can do that. This one just immediately lets me do all them actions. And then we have this one for -2 says, choose up to 3 of your domain markers on the island board. Move each one to an adjacent hex that doesn't already have a domain. Cool. So you take out something somebody else was trying to do. Then we have some feeding ones. -1 fruit. Whenever you player gain a feed action to increase a Kiwi size 2 or 3, you may pay 2 fewer fruits. This includes feeding a 3 size to make it explode. After you feed any Kiwi, you may move that Kiwi afterwards, unless it has exploded, of course. After you feed any Kiwi, you may increase that Kiwi 1 additional size for free. Do not gain additional domain markers from this. You may use this power to explode a 2-size Kiwi. After you feed any Kiwi, you may choose one of the domain markers you gain from the bag. The rest are taken randomly. And then finally, we have gained 2 additional feed actions. You still have to pay fruit. Cool. Then we have some builds. Whenever you build a nest, pay 1 fewer fruit. Whenever you build a nest, you may remove 1 Kiwi any size from the hex and place it onto the island board. You may build a second nest onto any hex with another nest of any player. You must meet the requirements and pay the corresponding fruit. Your opponents must choose and remove one of their nests from the board, return to the box, so they still gain the benefits during the season change. And finally, we have gain 1 additional build action. You must meet the requirements and pay the corresponding fruit. So yeah, basically the idea of these are, instead of doing your regular actions, which can either, wildcards can give you extra bonuses of stuff, or act as any one of the other actions. These let you do these actions as well, but they'll have permanent effects, or they'll have better effects if they cost fruit. So you're not going to be playing these every single turn. But the fact that you can play 3 cards every turn means you can play 1 of these actions every turn and then 2 of your other actions. Yeah, it kind of just takes the game from like, hey, here's what we're normally doing, to here's some advanced stuff we can do, which is pretty cool. Alright, then we have the second expansion that this game came with, which is the gold cards expansion. During setup, shuffle the gold cards, deal 2 to each player, and return the rest to the box. After the final domain marking phase, following the turn order, every player chooses 1 of their gold cards to score an additional points. Cool. So this is also a thing of sort of influence, and they have little brown backs, will kind of influence different ways you might want to play the game. So here we have 1 victory point for most domains on grass and mountain. Counter domain markers on grass or mountain hexes score as many victory points as the highest value of the 2. Same thing, but now you get to do it for the flower and sand hexes. We have 1 for grass and sand hexes. The higher value of the 2. So whichever one you have more of, you get extra victory points for. Flower and mountains. Yeah, so basically those 4 there are going to try and give you various rewards for doing a certain type. So if you know you have this, you're going to try and maybe focus on mountains and flowers. Just might not always happen. We have score 1 victory point for every 3 domain markers you keep in your reserve. So if you don't play a lot, you end up getting a bunch of extra points that way. So maybe if you know you're not going to be able to do a bunch of stuff, it might be worth just saving some of those. Score 1 victory point for each your size 2 or size 3 Kiwi on the island. Your leader does not count. Score 1 victory point for every hex where you have at least 1 nest, 1 Kiwi of any size, and 1 domain marker. A little bit trickier because you have to have all 3 of them. Yeah, if you can do it, you can get some extra points. Then the final one is score 1 fruit for every 3 fruit you kept. Yeah, so not game breaking necessarily, but again, it can kind of maybe give someone the extra little advantage. I've played other little resource management games. I just actually got done playing a game of Flamecraft, and I got to the end, and I was literally winning by like 6 points, and then we got to like the gold cards at the end. Oh, look, I got 2 more points. Guys, I'm 8 points ahead. I got this in the bag. And then the person I was playing against had 3 cards instead of 1 because they gained multiple gold cards. And they ended up beating me by 1 point because they just happened to make a comeback. And that's what makes some of these cards like bonus points at the end very interesting, because if you can kind of plan around it, your opponent might not know what you're doing and might not try and stop that. Cool. Then the next set of cards we're going to look at is we're going to do it very quick. We have these ones are turned sideways. These are the first, or the, not first player. These are the solo cards. So these are how, depending on which one you play, this is how the automated Kiwi, the Kiwi bot, is going to react. So if it does a move action, feed action, build action, or wild card, it's going to do these specific things. And I'm not going to go into too much of this. I did show off in the video part 1. I showed you the rules if you want to know. You can always probably look them up online. But just to know that there is a solo mode. Just basically going to place 2 on one of those locations. Or it's going to feed one of the things, or it's going to place a nest. It's going to show which one. So if we look at the second one here, it's going to just card number 2 at the top. It's going to place stuff in different areas. The of them have some little arrows on them. So I have to look to see what those different colored arrows mean. But then they're going to build nests in different orders as well. Yeah, so there's going to be various different things like that. So we're just going to hold up each one of them quick and pause it if you like to look at them a little bit more. And let's see if I can flip back to that solo mode page and just see what those arrows mean. So the black says push one of KiwiBot's arrows, and then the yellow one says push one of yours. So that's basically or the white one says push one of yours. If it has the black one, the curved arrow is pushing, and then the black big thick arrow there is showing. So I'm going to place a 1 and a 3. A 1 and a 3 size 1 is going to move all Kiwi to the same hex. It's going to try and move all of them to a sand hex. This I will move all 2s to a purple hex, so on and so forth. And then yellow means they'll try to move all Kiwi to different hexes. So if we have any of the white arrows, I don't think we had any. Did I miss some here? Nope, none of them had the big thick white arrows, so maybe that's just something that might come up. Yeah, there's going to tell you to explode something. So there's some different options there. Again, I did show off the thing in the last video, so if you guys want to see that, you can actually flip back over and watch that. I'm not going to go through all the rules again of it, but I'm going to show off the different symbols, just in case you wanted to kind of flip back and forth. Yeah, so that's kind of cool though what they have. Things. So yeah, we have the solo mode here, token. Use the hex with the indicated leader. Indicate leader as a starting point. I'll just sequence, set the marker, go clockwise until you find a valid hex. Use a hex mark indicated leader as a starting point. Put up the sequence set on the marker and go clockwise until you find a valid hex. Interesting. So you'll probably play it until you have one that actually works. Cool. So that is all that stuff. Alright, so the last thing, not the last thing, but two of the last things I want to go over in the thing is one, I'm going to show off the promo cards, and then two is I'm going to kind of show what the box storage looks like. So I'm going to pause for just a second. Alright, so we're going to look at some promo cards that came in the box. Now, I am going to also state this in the first video, because it did show on the back of the box, that the expansions were added into this set. The these promo cards may have been added in after the fact. So, I can't 1,000% guarantee... Ooh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to knock everything over. I can't 1,000% guarantee that they're in every single box. I was just going to check the back to see if it said that. Yeah, because even it says, yeah, power cards, gold cards, rule cards, reference cards. It does not list the promo cards on here. So yeah, there's no way for me to 100% guarantee that they're gonna be in your set or not. It says 16 leader cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, okay, so there are 16 then. So if it says 16 leader cards on the back, it is counting them. It just doesn't have anything listing the other two cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 14 guys, yeah. So it just doesn't list all the cards. So yeah, just check to make sure the back of the box says 16 leader cards, then you should have the promos. I don't know if they're in every edition or not. That's just what I hate to have happen. Alright. We just going to mention we have 4, as a special gift, we're getting 4 extra cards to try out their other cards. So, 2 of these cross over with War for Chicken Island, and 2 of them cross over with Dogo's Riding Dinosaurs. So it's kind of neat, though, because they cross over in both directions. We have some cards that work with the other, 2 cards that work with the other games, 1 that work for one of them, and then 2 cards that bring cards from them to this game. So we're going to look at that. So we have a brand new leader card. This is going to be for this. This is going to use the new miniature, or the miniature from War for Chicken Island. So it's a little War for Chicken Island symbol. And this is Krakatoa. So he's a little chicken with a fiery wand. So you can use him as a new leader. Which says, move Krakatoa up to 2 hexes, push up to 4 Kiwi of any size from the hex you landed on. Choose 1 Kiwi that you pushed and remove it from the island board. Yeah, so he pushes a bunch, and then you can just get rid of one of them guys regardless. A little bit of aggressive character. Now, these guys also don't have sides A and side B's, or A and B cards, so you just get the one option. Then from Dogo Riding Dinosaurs, we have off Oberndorfer. What are these little guys? So Oberndorfer, I believe, is the Dogo, and then he has 3 little dinosaurs dragging him around. A little bit hard to see with the red plastic, but they're kind of dragging him around. Yeah, so that's fun that we're going to get him. It says, move Oberndorfer up to 2 hexes. Push every Kiwi of any size. From the hex you land, choose up to 2 Kiwi that you push to increase each Kiwi size by 1. Kind of neat. So the other one, they kind of work similar and very different at the same time. Awesome. Then the other 2 cards we're going to get are ones that are going to take characters from this game, Kiwi Chow Down, and take them into the other one. So the first one is for War on Chicken Island. We're going to, of course, get the themed characters. We're going to get the Mecha Chicken Kiwi. So this will move him into this game. So it's going to show you has 7 attack, 14 defense. He has a movement of 1. Plus, it's going to show some of his resources. Chicken, wood, metal, stone. After this unit moves, all of its banging units take 1 free movement action. So this, I will try and show this card also, if hopefully I remember, when I do the War for Chicken Island video. So if you check that out, it'll also be in there as well. kind of like I'm doing with some of these other ones. Which is after this movement, use all banding units may take one free movement as a single banding unit. So you kind of just to group some guys together. Then the other card we have is for Dodo's Riding Dinosaurs. So it's going to have the sideways. Got a little Kiwi image on there to show it's from this game. As you have Ugg and Yuka. So at the end of your turn, you may activate Ice Storm. It says Ice Storm says discard a random card from your hand. If it is an aggressive card, advance 3 hexes. If it is a reaction card, nothing happens. If it is normal, each opponent must go back 1 hex. Randomness is kind of crazy. You can't really control that, but it's a very interesting ability. And then the thing down here just shows the difficulty depending on if you're playing in solo mode. Yeah, so that's cool. So we got 2 new cards from 2 characters over from the other game. I like these little crossover stuff. So you can keep, like, they're all from the same game, same company. It's really neat. It's not, hey, every single character is available in every other game. That would be awesome. But it's even neat the fact is, hey, if you buy all these games, you can mix and match some of these here and there, and they're doing some of that fun stuff there. Alright, then we have one more promo to show off. It is not in this box. And no, it is not in this box. It's another leader card. This is Axel. So this is a promo that came with one of the latest Kickstarters. It was a crossover pack which had several characters that had cards that worked for each different one. So this is the version that works for this game. There's also one that I think works for Dodo's Riding Dinosaurs. So this is a Kiwi riding a shark of some kind with a flying contraption. But I didn't want to show this off because this is in case you're trying to get all the ones for the Kiwi. Here's another guy you could try and pick up as this crossover pack. Move Axel 1 hex. Choose a straight line of hexes that includes the hex you landed on and push 1 Kiwi any size on the hex in that line. Cool. So we've had the 2 other guys that moved through hexes and they pushed guys out of the way that they landed on. We have other guys, guys that landed on hexes and pushed guys. You have other guys that push ones they went through. He instead moves, and then now everyone in front of him has to move out of the way. But yes, that's really fun. So that is what we have for additional promo cards and additional characters, which is always fun to get more stuff. There's also additional a 5th player expansion, plus this other Kickstarter promo stuff I do not own currently, but if I pick them up, we'll definitely do that video. So the last thing I did kind of want to show off is how the box looks after you store everything. Just because sometimes it's nice to see that. So here, now this isn't the 100% definitive way you have to do this. This is how I have them set up. So I have all the boards just kind of sitting on top. Rule book, obviously, going there. I don't have the rule book right there. We only have all our tokens. So that these little trays for all your tokens. Now you could take the time to set these all in sideways. A lot of people might keep the little baggies they were in, to keep them in there, because there's nothing that actually covers and holds this in here. You are going to put these on top, which should kind of help keep some of them, but I guess if you put these boards like this, or you throw the instructions across, it might help keep them from moving around too much. Like I already see I lost the token out of I dropped one of my tokens there. But yeah, so some people might keep in the baggies, some might not. That's entirely up to you on how you want to do that. Again, you can always weigh them in nicely. But again, there's no lid on this, so if like you flip the box sideways, all these tokens are probably going to start falling out. So again, you did come with a little bunch of baggies as well for probably a bunch of these. These already came in baggies, so you can definitely do that if you're going to possibly be keeping your game on the side. I would put them back in the baggies. I put all of the tokens into the bags here, so here's all our fruit. Like these bags are big enough, you can definitely get your hand into. That's really cool. So I just kind of fold them up. I set them in the middle half. You might want to shuffle them to one side to make them lay a little bit flatter. We have all our cards over here. There is enough room to sleeve all these. If you use smaller sleeves, if you use penny sleeves, they might be tricky. If you use regular sleeves, you should be able to fit everything in here. It'll be very up to the top, but it still should work. Although, again, if you buy the expansion set, the 5th player expansion. I don't know how many cards or extra cards are in there. So at least one more deck. If it's a 5 to 6 player expansion, it's going to have 2 more decks. So that might be a little interesting. And then this pile, I just have all our different nests in first player, all the rest of the agenda tokens, all that stuff, or VP tokens. If I pull this tray out, we do have on the bottom here, we have our extra trays. If I can even pull this piece out here. If I can pull this off. So we have our leaders there in their spots. Now you're like, why are all these extra trays there? This is another expansion they had. I believe it's called the Nest expansion, which is 3D miniatures for all your nests. So it added a spot for all the different nests for all the different players. So I think it was, what is it? We have 2 caves. You have a spot for like the caves. You have a spot for some of the towers, and you have a spot for some of the other ones. I don't remember which ones they all were, but like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably enough for a 5-player game. You know, probably there. So yeah, if you bought that, they have a 3D thing, so you could have those. So as part of the Kickstarter promotion, it's probably an additional thing you may be able to purchase. But if you get that, it's nice you can just drop them right in there. So you don't have to try and figure out how to store an extra box of miniatures. Now, another thing you could possibly do if you really wanted to, you could drop this one in first, then drop this on top. And then that would actually solve some of your problem with your stuff tipping out a little bit. It's not going to, again, be perfect. I'm just going to state this. Don't do this and expect nothing's going to happen. Because it'll help keeping some of the tokens from possibly falling out of the box. But because this isn't a flat piece on the bottom, they're still going to be able to pop out and run underneath there. So that's up to you if you'd like to do that as well. You know, either way, you're going to have to pull it out each time you play it. So cool. So there's that. And then what I'll probably do is take the promo cards that are specifically for this set, like these 3 here. Probably just shove all them in there, because that makes the most sense to keep them in there. So that way I have them right away in active use. Alright, that is what we have for Kiwi Chow Down. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to try and see if I can pick up the expansions, so that we can go ahead and look at all that stuff. Otherwise, check out the other Creature Kingdom games that we have, which are the Detestable and Draco Studio stuff, which are, again, our War for Chicken Island and Dodo's Riding Dinosaurs, well, the expansion for that, and then eventually Panda Pirate Party. I hope I said that in the right order. See you guys later. Bye.